Tuesday, October 15th, regular meeting. Call to order.
Campbell,
Here.
Lejeune,
Here.
Brown,
Here.
Moffett,
Here.
Snyder is absent, and McNeil is absent.
And I have a request for excused absences. Here, a motion.
Motion to excuse the absence for Schneider, is that the only one? All right, John McNeil.
I second it. Roll call vote.
Campbell,
Aye.
Lejeune, Brown,
Aye.
Moffett.
Aye.
Approval of agenda.
Motion to approve agenda.
Second.
Say you did.
Yes. Roll call vote.
Campbell,
Aye.
Lejeune,
Aye.
Brown,
Aye.
and Moffett.
Aye.
Secretary, do we have any correspondence?
We have none.
Do you have any public appearances? Seeing none. Hearing none. Move on to the consent calendar. All items on the consent calendar are considered to be routine and enacted by one motion. Board members did not attend the meeting of the minutes, they can abstain from that. Item 1 through 3, consent calendar.
I'd like to pull item 3. Just to make a promise.
I
Did you say number 3?
3.
want to pull 4. So what if, need a motion on 1 and 2?
Okay, now there was it on the recording of the meetings, it doesn't show me there, but later on it shows me voting. Oh, it says entered at 4:01.
Yeah.
Okay.
I remember you were.
Yes. I was changing batteries.
Yeah. So you still want to pull 3?
Yeah.
Okay. You have a motion to approve?
1 and 2, 3. I second it. I guess I did.
And you said you could?
Yeah. Roll call vote.
Campbell,
Aye.
Lejeune,
Aye.
Brown,
Abstain from item 1, approve item 2. Aye.
Aye.
Item 3, approve the 2023 greenhouse gas emission allowance transaction. CP Energy Marketing LP.
And I just want to comment, here we have this little town, 5,000 people, and we have a $620,000. And it goes for nothing. Doesn't go into energy projects, it goes to corporations. I am appalled. I was looking for the right word. Okay,
It seems criminal.
I'll remind the board member that that's one of the reasons we did the solar project survey.
but again, they're forcing us to spend billions of dollars to mitigate. And we get half our power is renewable anyway, which they don't rate.
So we could write a letter to the California Air Race.
And,
Yep.
and you know how way they file it too.
I'm not sure if this is the appropriate time, but I have just a quick comment on that as well. Mr. Chairman, since you brought up the solar project, do we have any kind of assessment if this solar project was in place, how much it would offset the $620,000?
Yes, it was in the report.
I don't think I saw the final.
I didn't bring it with me, I apologize.
Just,
I-
just shut it off there.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Really nothing, but I'm just curious if it's cut it in half, to cut it by third, it's a cut.
It's 33 billion.
It was over
33 billion.
30-year term
Yeah.
analysis, so it's a little portion every year, then a bigger picture at the end of the 30-year term. But yes, it did provide a small offset. Again, these procurement targets that we have through CARB for 21 to 23 have different targets. So I believe the last few years were like 33% of your retail sales had procured. So while our system would be 1 or 2 megawatts, that's not anywhere near 33% of our retail sales when you're doing 88, you know, thousand megawatts. So you're doing, you know, small fraction of it.
GHG avoided, GHG debt purchases of 14.9 million. With this project, and then the RECs, which we also spend millions of dollars, almost 2.476 million. It's what we could, over 30
years. So it's about 17 million dollars over 30 years. Is that?
Yeah, 300, avoided costs for year one, 341,000, year two, 349,000, year three, 358,000, and so on. Year 10, you see it jump to 405,000. Then it jumps up again in year 17 to 506,000. Obviously, because you're using more in it. So, and then finally in year 30, you're looking at almost 700,000 in avoided costs and GHG cap trade purchases. So it starts at 341,000 in year one, and then goes up to 700,000 in year 30.
So
Based on the.
Okay, but again,
approximately 50%.
Again.
Year one.
again, that 300,000, what would our payments be for that year on the solar project? It would nullify that. I mean, it's idiocy.
Right.
Okay, that's all I had. Thank you, man.
That's all I have.
Item 3,
Oh, yeah. Motion to approve item 3.
Seconded.
call vote.
Campbell.
Aye.
Ledoux. Brown.
Aye.
Profit.
I did have one question. When I saw CP, did the city of Needles buy electric utility from CP?
Yeah, it's capital power.
Yeah, I was, when I first saw it, I had to do double check.
Yeah, it's short for capital power.
But what you don't realize, Terry, is that way back, how long ago did that happen? We were paying $400 a month utility bills in the
Back then.
summer. From them, it changed drastically at our own power service. Drastically.
Okay. Item 4, accept the bid of Rafaelis Financial Consultants, Inc. to prepare a comprehensive electric, water, wastewater cost of services rate making study at a care cost not to exceed $98,774, utilizing adopted fiscal year 25 budget.
Yes, thank you, Chairman, Commissioners. It's that time. We went out to bid. We received one qualifying bid. They are a qualified candidate. In your packet is their proposal. They've worked on several other rate analysis, so we feel confident that they can conduct this for us in the timeline that we need to. So tonight, we're just asking for your acceptance to award the contract through them. And as Terry mentioned, the funds were approved in the adopted FY25 budget.
How often do we do that? Annually? Every 5 years?
Every 5 years.
Okay, so it's not a year late.
Correct. The last one we adopted was 2019, 2020.
What does this entail? It would on any state basically history and say, well, this is how much it is.
Correct. So they complete a comprehensive overall analysis of the water, wastewater, and electric entities. They verify that the last report that was completed in 2019, 2020 collected adequate revenues, because it's all a forecast. We project that if we set a basic service charge, it will generate this much revenue based on this expenditure, but we need to evaluate those and make sure that they did properly bring in enough revenue. And if they did, they will recommend that your rate and your terms of services are set adequately. And in the cost of living adjustment are adequately covering the part.
In other words, they're not actually going to. They're comparing it to other utilities. And seeing how well they jive.
It's a cost accounting.
Yeah,
can I speak? It's heavy on the revenue side for each of the three utilities of what revenue will be needed for over the next 5 years. So due to the previous study we did on solar projects for the return on investment, we've asked that be included in its calculations on the electric utility side. If we city-owned and use capital improvement funds, we want that included in the revenue requirements for the electric utility. So that would be one of our decisions, whether we want to have somebody come in and then we lease by agreement, or do we city-owned? Need to understand that. And then the other thing that we need to have in this study that we have on the way that's formed, next item on the agenda, we need to have a full understanding of demand meters in the public's input on demand meters and whether that is beneficial or not to that utility. But basically, the study, rate study, is basically going to send to us what the revenue requirements will be for the next 5 years. And historically, I can say that we've never accepted the full amount of revenue that these studies have presented to us. We've always trimmed them down based on history of our understanding as board members of what we've passed in the past. And so we've always scrutinized the actual revenue requirements. Hopefully, it would benefit the ratepayers over the years.
But again, it also gives us a chance to look at different options to raise that money so we can separate the cannabis as business rather than having them get Colorado River, the hydropower. So we can look at gives us a chance to look at different rate structures.
One of the considerations that showed that
So yeah, so the raising the revenue is divided by the rate. So you raise the rate, you get higher revenue, right? So that's what we're talking about here. But what wasn't discussed was the expenditure side, that you have to ensure that these capital projects that are coming online are able to be covered by the revenues. So that's why we have to be mindful when we're putting capital projects into the utility. It's important to understand because you gotta have the revenue to cover those expenditures. And so it's a tap dance around that whole process. So of course you can have more revenue by raising the rate. But again, what are the costs as you're all aware, as a utility company, O&M, debt, capital reserve, and debt reserve and capital costs. So those are the only things that those rates cover. So what this study will do is they'll do identification of what those costs are, and then take a rate which jives with that. And we have pushback in the past, but we've been creative in the sense that sometimes grants will cover some of those capital costs. So we want to ensure that the rate study, those doing the rate study understand they have. You look at their qualifications, they've done, Greeny's done thorough analysis on these folks. They're good. And not only that, this isn't their first rodeo. And so what they'll do is they'll take a look at our expenditures. They're going to jive it with the rate, see where we end up. But we can fill some of those gaps with financing or with grants.
So just quickly on the solar portion of the new potential new solar plant. How have we proposed to fund that?
that's yet to be determined.
Based on this study?
No.
Or based on what?
No,
We'll have a separate.
we have a separate agenda item to discuss, which site we're going to accept and how staff should propose.
so it's, Mr. Commissioner, it's a two-part thing. The next agenda item is to appoint an ad hoc committee, which those discussions need to take place in the development of the study. So when we're giving input on the financial background of the utility, as Patrick mentioned, we give them a full list of capital projects, which is at the backbone of how rates are developed. So that's where that potential project.
So basically, the solar projects or was presented, accepted, we passed it on to the council. The ad hoc committee still has renewables, has to come up with a recommendation.
That's for whether we're gonna do anything, or we're gonna go solar or nothing. So we still have to determine.
You have to make a presentation, but creating an agenda item for the Brady to make a proposal to the rest of the board members to consider adopting site 1, site 2, site 3.
And that will all be part of this rate study. And so
I guess,
because we're gonna tell them how much we believe it costs based on that study. And we're gonna see if it pencils out for the rate period. Right. You know, whether paying for the credits and the recs outweighs putting in a solar clause managed by the city or doing the power purchase agreement. That will all be considered as part of that rate study.
And we just want to point out that per Proposition 218, the utility has to adopt the rate study. So this is routine and has to be conducted every 5 years to keep the COLA going at least at a minimum. If it doesn't impact the rates, at least the COLA keeps going and the utility rates are adopted for another 5 years.
So as a, I guess, a point of business, when would we know whether things, because obviously there's a huge difference between us financing through a bond and getting a grant. How do you weigh those two together when you're trying to do your analysis? I mean, obviously, I think if there was a grant available, we would all go hip hip hooray, it's put it in, it's only a plus, right? There is no minus to it. So, but if we're having to finance it or do a bond on it, then obviously there is an expense side of it. So, I mean, what's the timing on that? 'Cause- And I'm not pressuring you on that. I'm just saying, I mean, how do we know the likelihood of one versus the other while they're doing the rate study?
So we do that through the ad hoc committee. We did it last go around with the water utility. We did not have any of those grant funds up front. Some of those capital projects were included in the rate study, which are then going to be reevaluated in this one. So through the appointment of the ad hoc committee in the next agenda item is when we meet as a group continually through this development process and analyze what we would like to include. And again, it's just a forecast. So you can still include a solar farm in the rate study, if you will. But if we get funding, it comes out of it. We did this exact same thing with the water. So.
Well, you just want to make sure that the $98,000, and I realize we have, but that it's a good value, right? That we're getting information out of it that makes sense that we could use when we're making determinations, especially on projects that we don't necessarily know how we're going to fund. Right?
But the bottom line is we have to do it anyway.
No, I know, I get it, but you'd like for it to be useful to some degree.
Well, if we have to do it to be able to rate rate. If you don't have the documentation justify, so that we're adding our share responsibility.
Yeah, I get it. Yeah, I know we have to do it, so I understand that. That's all I have. Thank you.
Item 4,
Motion to approve, rate study.
A second.
roll call vote.
Campbell,
Aye.
Lucier, Brown,
Aye.
and Moffitt.
Aye.
Okay, appointment of 3 board members. I will take your interest, but I would like to state that Mike Schneider will be leaving us in March, but he has expressed an interest in being on the rate ad hoc committee up until his departure, which we could then backfill his spot with somebody else. But he's been involved in, past 3 or 4 weeks that he's done with them. And, I personally value his,
Absolutely. Yeah, I guess that's a good point.
so I would propose myself. I could propose myself because I've been on the plans.
I will propose Terry Campbell.
Anybody else interested?
Maybe good for.
I propose Ed Brown.
Yeah.
Okay. Terry Campbell, Mike Schneider, Nick Brown.
Sorry.
We need to put that in a motion.
My neck.
Yeah, you were, you're gonna be on.
That I never do like that.
You and Steve are on.
We need it all.
Did you need a motion?
Yeah.
That's one. I need a motion.
I make a motion to select Chairman Campbell, Brown and Mike Schneider as the ad hoc. I second it.
Roll call vote.
Campbell,
Aye.
Lejeune,
Aye.
Brown,
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, in your package, you have reports from USI on the operation of the wastewater treatment facility. Any questions for staff? Monthly activity report is the next,
Nothing to report.
and it's for June, which I was surprised that we don't have any for July yet. That'll be next month, where we get a July
Yes.
report, because that's a big megawatt consumption. Questions? Okay, moving on to present prevented water rights. No question. Manager report, right?
I have nothing to report this.
City manager.
Real quick, some of these streets are being done around town. We're really excited. $3.2 million for the projects for streets. So those cannabis dollars are going and being utilized. So if you have a chance, drive around. So if your street wasn't done this time, guess what? You're next in line. All right. So that's the way you gotta look at this. That these streets are getting done, that means you're next.
That's the priority list, Kenny.
Not yet. It's currently under review with the city engineer right now to do a prioritization of the streets.
So you gave me a list the last,
Yeah, you're in year
which I
seven.
appreciate.
You guys are in year 7.
We're in here.
I think it's
7. Yeah, so we're in 4B right now.
Yeah.
4B is, so 4B is out as been authorized for the water line replacements. That's up by Cardi Way. So it's getting closer to on Parkway, but basically, and not that you asked me that, because you have a conflict. Actually, you don't go on those things.
No.
But you do fund them through the water utilities, so it's not get too much into it. But basically, hypothetically, those folks up there, we're moving into that area. So 4B will be going out to bid, probably start construction in February, March. So you'll see those streets being done, and then we'll move up into that area. Keep moving down. But yeah, we're excited. It's moving, not as quick as we'd like to, but at the end of the day, the council's putting away $2 million each year. We are thankful for the asset replacement fund. When it can, you guys have funded those water line replacements, and so we're thankful for that. If you haven't noticed the circus in town, go check it out. They're here until next Monday. It's exciting to be able to see what's going on in the presidential debate. That's right, and services are already in town, that's another. But, if you didn't have a chance, take a look at the state of the city, that went really well. That was held a couple weeks ago, it's online, we'll get you the link, it was recorded, well attended, there was about 100 people here. Basically, the mayor gave an update of where we're at with our current events. You know, basically, we're on the up and up, $14 million worth of projects, capital projects. $8 million for the park projects. Cannabis revenue is doing well. City came in at 5% higher than projected with this last budget, which is great. So, thanks to the hard work of our staff, you know, we're working consistently and trying to get these things done. So we're improving quality of life for our residents. I'm thankful to be a part of this team. We're having fun. So thank you for your leadership as we continue to go down this road. And we're doing some good things for our residents, so let's keep working on it.
Board requests, you know. Yeah,
Can I get a quick update on the water treatment plant?
That's what I was gonna ask, okay, good.
Yeah, so, it's been delayed now, 8 to 10 weeks from this week because of the SCADA system, they cannot, see. So, but that's good. So what we're gonna do is that intertime that we need to connect the 16-inch from the treatment plant to well 15, we're gonna install that now. So that way, that gives lead time for that SCADA to come in, and we're gonna get that 16-inch intertime out of the way.
So the SCADA just wasn't available or?
Yeah, it's just delayed parts,
Oh, it's
equipment.
a delay in the SCADA.
Unforeseen, but we're gonna take advantage of it
Yeah.
while the well is down and install that.
So what's the latest projected online date now?
10 weeks, we're looking beginning of the year probably, with all the holidays, be realistic.
Okay.
Just another question too, that, the great big white elephant downtown, are they doing anything with that?
Oh, you talking about 209 Broadway right here?
Yeah, right by the,
Their building permit's valid, it's on hold right now, building permit's good for a year. And so you can't go after them until their building permit expires, once the building permit expires. They're currently, it's a revenue issue.
but are they doing anything?
No, no, it's vacant, it's a vacant big building on Broadway. That is not even near to being complete, so I don't want you to think that that's the finished product. So they've got a ways to go, so it'll look much better than that. It will look as if the way it was approved by our council. We're not gonna just let it stop.
I have none, so the meeting is adjourned.
Jonathan?